I won locals this week with Drytron, and here's my deck profile. First, I'm playing 3 Drytron Alpha Thuban. This can, like most Drytron names, tribute either a Drytron monster or a ritual monster from my hand or field to special summon itself from my hand or graveyard, and then it can add any ritual monster from my deck to the hand. This is all one effect, so it works under skill drain. Then 3 Zeta Aldibar. Zeta Aldibar can do pretty much the same, but it adds a ritual spell instead of any ritual monster from my deck to the hand. These two are your best names, pretty much. Then I'm playing 2 Gamma Eltanin. This can also special summon itself by tributing yada yada yada. And when it's summoned, it can special summon a Drytron monster with 2000 or less attack from my graveyard. Then I'm playing 1 Delta Altais. When this is summoned, I can reveal a ritual spell or a ritual monster in my hand, and then I can draw a card. 1 Beta Rastaban. When this is summoned, I can return a banished Drytron monster from my banished pile into the graveyard. This sometimes comes up. You have ways of banishing your own Drytron monsters, and this just helps you if you get bestialed, if you get crowed at certain points. It's really nice in the grind game. Then I'm playing 2 of the new Drytron. I'm playing 2 New 2. New 2 is really, really, really good because it can special summon itself if you control a Drytron card. It's from the hand or graveyard. It's really, really, really good, but then banish it when it leaves the field. This rarely ever comes up because you can just make an Xyz monster with this, and then it searches any Drytron monster from your deck. It's so good that they had to put a restriction on this, and the restriction is that you cannot ritual summon anything except machine monsters for the rest of the turn. It's quite the harsh restriction. All the other Drytrons already restrict you into only special summoning monsters that cannot be normal summoned this turn. But this is an additional restriction that's kinda hard, but it's still a really, 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 really good card. It's insane because there are ways to summon this from the deck. Then it searches through the Alpha Thuban, then you can Alpha Thuban tribute the Nu 2, and then you can just special summon Nu 2 back from the graveyard. It's a crazy card, and it's insane that this is a common because it's by far the best support card this deck got. Then I'm on 1 Ursatron Alpha. This can special summon itself if we control a Drytron monster, so it's not as good as the Nu 2, because Nu 2 you only have to control a Drytron card. But then this searches any Drytron spell or Ursatic spell or trap. It doesn't really matter, but you only go for the Drytron ones. Then 1 Diviner of the Herald. Diviner can send from our extra deck to the graveyard a Herald of the Arclight, and then we can search any ritual monster. It's also a tuner, and it can modulate its own level. It's a really, really neat card. And it's a light fairy, which comes up because we are playing 3 of the Cyber Angel Benten. I was on 2 for some time, but 3 just feels a bit better. I think you could play 2 because it by itself isn't really doing much, and there are so many cards that get you to Benten. It's just one less material that you have to tribute off, but Alpha is so accessible so that you don't really struggle to get the Benten in hand. Benten, when it's tributed, just adds you any light fairy monster from your deck to the hand. Then we are playing 1 Drytron Meteonis Draconitz. This cannot be targeted by monster effects if the total level of the monsters used for its ritual summon is 2 or lower. And it can, as a quick effect during our opponent's turn, banish Drytron monsters from our graveyard whose level is either 2000 or 4000, and then we can send face-up cards our opponent controls to the graveyard for every 2000 attack of the monsters that we banished. It's a great removal card. It has an additional effect where it can attack all special summon monsters that our opponent controls once each. It's very, very good going second. It's really good going first, and it has high attack, which comes up later. Then we are playing 1 of the new ritual monster, Drytron Meteonis Da Draconitz. This is multiple monster negates by banishing Drytron monsters from our graveyard. This is really nice because now you have better lines of playing through Nibiru, for example, because in earlier builds you made Crystal Wing, but this is way better. It's super accessible because you can send this from the deck to the graveyard. It's a really, really good monster, and if this is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, we can special summon a ritual monster with 4000 or less attack from our hand or deck, and it's treated as a ritual summon, which is really, really good as well. We could just summon this one on our opponent's turn for free if they get rid of this. Then for the spells, we are playing 2 Nova. A Nova is a bit pricey, so I like only playing 2 for budget reasons, but it's a hard once per turn as well, and it's pretty accessible because you can search it with the Wizard trick. You have other ways of finding this, and you can search it with Fafnir as well. Fafnir is a field spell that on activation just searches us any Drytron spell or trap. It pretty much always gets us the Nova, because Nova is just really, really good. Nova is just a e-tally for the deck. It summons 1 Drytron monster from the deck. It's very, very nice to have Fafnir access into Nova. Fafnir also allows us to reduce the level of a monster our opponent special summons if we control a Drytron ritual monster. It's a niche effect, but it sometimes can destroy your opponent's levels if they want to synchro summon or Xyz summon. So sometimes they really want to get rid of the Drytron Fafnir, and it's an additional interruption even after you get Dark Ruler no more, for example. Then we're playing 1 Meteornus Drytron as our only ritual spell. For the longest time, I've played 2 Meteornus Drytron because you kind of want to see it. If you have Zeta Aldibar, then you have an additional search, and you don't just special summon Zeta Aldibar with no more ritual spells in deck. It's not once per turn to ritual summon, so if you have another copy of this, you can just ritual summon again. But it's really accessible as well, and it doesn't do anything, as in it doesn't break boards, it doesn't get you into the combo, and you just search it during your combo anyway, so it's really fine as a one-off. It can reset itself from the graveyard as well by targeting a Drytron monster we control and reducing its attack by 1000. It's a really, really good ritual spell, and just the ability of ritual summoning by using attack points is a nice just spin on the ritual mechanic. It's really, really fun. Then, because Fafnir is a field spell, we are playing Terraforming, because this is a once per turn, this is limited, and Nova is also once per turn, so we are playing essentially many, many copies of the same card. That's a hard once per turn. But if we open either one of them, it's completely fine. And if we already have Fafnir, we have other targets we can search with the Terraforming as well. We are playing a copy of Chicken Game, because Chicken Game just is a really cool card. Once we searched our deck for multiple cards, we can draw another card, and then we just draw into non-engine. It's a really, really cool card because we search our engine during the combo, then we draw one, and we either draw cool non-engine, we can maybe draw a board breaker with this. It's just a great card. Then we are playing 1 copy of Magical Midbreaker Field. The choke point of the deck is still if our opponent imperms or velas our Xyz monster. This prevents that. Magical Midbreaker Field says that we can only activate it at the start of main phase 1, but then during each player's main phase 1, monsters on the field cannot be destroyed by their opponent's card effects. So, like, we can't get Ghost Ogre, for example, which is nice on our Xyz monster, and neither player can target monsters their opponent controls. This just prevents Vela, Mourner, Imperm. It's a cracked card, that's why it's limited. But even though you can only activate this at the start of main 1, we are playing a set rotation as well. This is great too, because set rotation gives our opponent a card, so they can't evenly match us, they can't imperm us, and we can use this in draw or standby to get a Magical Midbreaker Field on our side of the field as well. It's a really, really cool tech that you can play, and I had one of my opponents become really angry when he noticed that set rotation gives him a card, and I had to remind him that no, you cannot imperm me while I have given you a card with set rotation. It's a really cool card so that you don't get interrupted as often, and it's cool that this can just, after you've used the Fafnir, you can use the set rotation as well, and like get a Chicken Game or something. It's pretty cool. This can get rid of your opponent's field spells. Like, it's an interruption as well. You can use this to get rid of like a Runic Fountain, for example. It's just a really cool and super strong card. Then, to easier find our Drytron names, we are playing a Foolish Burial. This can just send any Drytron monster from our deck to the graveyard, because all of them can special summon themselves from the grave. 3 Cyber Emergency. This can add a Cyber Dragon monster, but we don't care about that. We want to add a Light Machine monster that cannot be normal summoned with this from our deck to the hand. And if this is negated, we can discard a card to set it, or like add it back to our hand. This rarely comes up because the search is a hard once per turn, but it's nice that you can just discard a card in your hand that you might not need in your hand because it's a Drytron name, and then you can just get this back if they like ashed it, for example. Then a copy of 1 for 1, because we can special summon new 2 with this mostly. Some cards to break boards or ensure that our boards don't get broken. We're playing 3 Forbidden Droplet, because you can just send 4 Drytron names with this in draw phase to get rid of your opponent's board, essentially. This is cool because you can set it, you can still play after Dark Ruler no more with this that way. It's an insane board breaker for a deck that just doesn't care about the cards in hand. Like, you can sometimes just Drytron Nova, they want to negate it, you chain droplet, send Nova, send 3 other Drytron names from your hand, and then just break their whole board. It's really, really insane. 1 Called by the Grave, because we don't like Droll. Oddly enough, we don't like Droll and we don't like Shifter. The next card doesn't do as much against Shifter like Called by does, but it does a quite lot against Droll. We are playing 3 copies of Sales Ban. Sales Ban allows us to declare a card name and negate that card until the end of the turn for our opponent and until the end of the duel for us. But we just don't care. If we go first, we declare Droll with this, so we can't get Drolled. If we go second, we can just declare any monster that our opponent has on board with this, and they can't use that monster. It's great going first, it's great going second. I just love Sales Ban. Sadly, it's a hard once per turn, but it's such a cool card. It's just really, really fun to use this. In the extra deck, we are playing a Herald of the Arclight. This is just there to be sent with Diviner. 1 FA Dawn Dragster. We can synchro summon this with Diviner after it has sent the Arclight to increase its level to 6, and any Drytron monster. This is a spell trap, negate, and destroy. Comes up quite often, and it's really handy to just have an accessible spell trap negate in the extra deck. 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, because we are playing a ton of field spells, and 1 more field spell in the side deck. You can maybe already guess which field spell it is. Write it down in the comments below. For the Link monsters, we are playing a Relinquished Anima, because this is nice to make SP with, and its removal. We are playing an SP because this is nice to be made with Anima with, and it's just a really, really good card. 1 Dynamondo, because this is removal and it can summon our ritual monsters back. 1 Track Black. This is kind of a tech choice. I've been playing this since 2020 because it says we can target a monster we control that this card points to. Every single time it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, we draw 1 card. And one of our big boys just can attack all special summon monsters our opponent controls. So best case, you can draw 6 cards with this during the battle phase. It's really, really nice, and it has good link arrows, because with this we can very easily make an IP the World Chalice Priestess. This says that if it's linked, it cannot be targeted by card effects, it cannot be destroyed by card effects, and it cannot be destroyed by battle. And it's a spellcaster, so yes, we are playing Secret Village in the side deck. This has a downwards right arrow, so you can easily make Track Black, then an IP, and put a big ritual monster down here. This is just a really good link arrow, because Dynamondo, like, sure, this works, but this needs a ritual monster and everything. Track Black is just handy, because this just uses 2 effect monsters. It's easy to make, and Anima has an upwards arrow. SP has left and right arrows. It's not really great if you want to link the IP, so Track Back is kind of nice because of that as well. And IP is just insane if you're playing Secret Village. 1 Boral Sword Dragon. I initially wanted to play Boral Load Dragon, because Boral Load Dragon can steal an opponent's Colossus, for example. Boral Sword Dragon, though, is kind of nice if you want to swing for game, but personally, I do like Boral Load Dragon a bit more. Would have switched them out for the deck profile, but this actually came up during the locals, so Boral Sword is a good card. For the Xyz monsters, we are playing 2 Drytron Mu Beta Fafnir. As mentioned earlier, this is the choke point if you play against Drytron. Imperm this, Veiler this, Mourner this. It's a great card. It sends any Drytron card from deck to graveyard. It can use its Xyz materials as a ritual material for the ritual monsters. And it's a spell trap negate if you control another Drytron ritual monster, or like a machine ritual monster. It's just a really, really, really good card. But because of Magical Midbreaker Field and set rotation and sales ban, we are protecting this quite well. So this will resolve most of the time. And even if they ash this, we can still use the ritual materials, the exceed materials as ritual materials. So we don't care as much if they ash this, but if they imperm, Veiler, or Mourner this, it really, really hurts. Then we are on one assembled Nightingale. This can attack directly, which is pretty much mostly why we use this to make Zeus. And it can detach one exceed material, and then it says Lyricless monster cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, so it itself can't be destroyed by battle or card effects until the end of the turn. Also, you don't take battle damage. This is just pretty good against the Tempai match, because you can just declare this in draw phase. Either they have Droplet or they don't, and even if they have Droplet, we can just make Fako instead. Fako is unaffected by all other card effects, and we can detach 2 materials from this, and that can't be destroyed by battle. I once had a misplay at my locals where I went for the assembled Nightingale and attacked into my opponent. They still had something to get rid of this, so should have played differently. And I would just advise you to not get greedy and try to make a Downard into Zeus with the assembled Nightingale all of the time, because you don't need a 4-material Zeus. If you can just ensure that you can make a 2-material Zeus with the Fako into the Downard into the Zeus, then that's completely valid as well. As long as you get a Zeus on field, you get a board wipe most of the time. Like, sure, sometimes they chain an Imperm, and then you would love to chain Zeus again, but it's enough most of the time. For the side deck, I was playing 3 Denko Sekka. Denko Sekka is nice because we do not need our normal summon. Like, Diviner is a cool card, but we don't mind siding it out. Denko Sekka is great against Labyrinth, which is played quite much at my locals, oddly enough. It just straight up says that neither player can activate set spells or traps as long as I don't control any set spells or traps. It's a good card, and neither player can set spells or spell or traps as well, so even if you go first versus Lab, it's a great card. Denko Sekka is just insane if you don't need the normal summon. Like, either they have Solemn Judgment or they don't. It's just a good card. Then, this is kind of a meme. I'm playing 3. The Avatar of Evil. This needs 3 tributes to be tribute summoned, and once it has been successfully tribute summoned, your opponent cannot activate any spells or traps or spell trap effects until the end of their second turn. So this is a lingering royal decree and IO for multiple turns. It's really, really, really good versus trap decks in theory, versus board breaker decks in theory, because good luck with your 3 Darkholds, 2 Raigekis in hand. You just can't activate them. Oh, and also the thing that doesn't let you activate them, it's a lingering effect, even if you have removal for this, or like a negate for this. I don't care. Also, this says that its attack always become the attack of the monster on field with the highest attack plus 100. So it's really funny versus Tempai, because they can't beat over this. Like, if they don't have removal, they just can't get rid of this. It's super funny. Like, they can go Trident Dragon and boost their thing to 6,000. Nice. My guy is on 6,100 now. It's super, super cool. Then, in case we want to lock our opponent out of special summoning, because why wouldn't you want to do that? We're playing 1 Vanity's Ruler, and funnily enough, this is a light fairy monster, so we can search it with Benten. Nice! And if we want to protect the Vanity's Ruler, we are playing a Secret Village. Nice, Secret Village. We can use Ancient Fairy Dragon to pop our own Fafnir to go into the Secret Village. And Fafnir, you can always search, pretty much. Yeah, you can Secret Village plus Vanity's Ruler your opponent. Either they have the Imperm or the evenly matched, but you can still have like at least 1 spell trap negate if you wanted to. It's just GG's once you end on spell trap negate, Vanity's Ruler, and Secret Village. They can't do anything. Because I like to annoy Tenpai players, I'm playing 1 Amor Factor Pain as well. With Nu 2, this isn't as good because Nu 2 locks you out of summoning this after you used Nu 2. But if this is ritual summoned, you skip your opponent's next main phase 1. So they pretty much can't OTK you. Like, they can still use Sangen Kaimen, but if they don't have Sangen Kaimen, that's it. They just can't OTK you. Also, this has a lingering effect, not lingering effect, but it has a continuous effect to negate all Xyz monsters, all Synchro monsters, and all Fusion monsters. Be aware though, this negates your own Xyz monsters. You cannot forget this, it's pretty important. But it skips your opponent's next man 1, so they can't OTK you. It's really good against any Synchro, Xyz, or Fusion deck, which is not that many, I'll admit, but it's very good versus Tempai. And if we need to go second, we are playing 3 Dark Ruler no more. We are already maining the 3 Droplet, but it's nice that you can just Dark Ruler no more, and if they have an out to Dark Ruler no more, you just chain the Droplet, kick W. Like, they can end on a board that's like Dark Ruler no more proof, and then you just slap a Droplet on top of the Dark Ruler no more and send the Dark Ruler no more for cost for the Droplet. It's always going to be a good card, and even if we can't game our opponent, we can draw a ton of cards with Drag Black, and there's where it comes in again. Like, Drag Black is just such a cool card. And because we don't need the normal summon in this deck, we are playing 3 Lava Golem as our last card in the side deck. Lava Golem I never drew into, but it's a great card. Like, if you open multiple of this, you can get rid of 4 monsters that your opponent controls. The only out to Lava Golem is like if they flip Rivalry or Gozen or something, but there's not really anything else they can do to prevent the Lava Golem. Maybe like Vanity's Ruler as well, if you just completely stop all special summons. But Lava Golem is very, very good. You could play Sphere Mode instead, but I do like Lava Golem. Lava Golem is just the cherry on top. I also know that there are a ton of Dinomorphia players recently at my locals, and Lava Golem is just killer versus Dinomorphia because, yeah, good luck at dodging the Lava Golem effect burn. You can prevent effect damage, but you can't prevent effect damage from your own cards. Yeah, I went undefeated with this at locals, had a ton of fun, and I pulled an ulti low. In case anybody's interested in this, just write it down in the comments and maybe we can work it out. But pulled an ulti low, won locals with Drytron, and a buddy of mine was playing Drytron at locals as well. He got completely clapped by a fish player. I told him, I'll make you proud. Destroyed the fish player and went on to win locals undefeated. It's so cool. My matchups were Horus Stun in round 1, where I lost the die roll. Just Fish rank 4 in round 2, where I won the die roll. And in round 3, I played versus Mermail, Atlantean with some Ice Barrier Spies. Round 4 we didn't need to do because there were so many people that had draws, and second place already saw my Denko Sekas in the side deck, and he was playing Labyrinth, so he didn't want to play another round versus I normal summon Denko Seka versus him and we can shake hands. So yeah, went on pretty smoothly with this deck. I really like the new support. I really like sitting on Secret Village, and I hope you have as much fun with this deck as I had. I'll see you in the next video. If you have any questions or comments or deck suggestions, just write them down in the comments below. And yeah, I'll soon make another video about Dinomorphia, because I won a 60-man tournament recently with Dinomorphia, also undefeated, and I just got to make a deck profile about that one. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.